Sonic's world is filled with a cast of colourful characters, each with their own distinct personalities and abilities, but his world is not the only one. In a parallel dimension, the Soul Dimension, is a kingdom, an empire, and one of its ruling members is the princess, Blaze the Cat, one fast as Sonic with the power of fire to boot, and she is a character that many people have come to enjoy as the Sonic franchise has gone on. However, her appearances have been quite limited, partially due to the fact that she originates from a completely separate dimension. Introduced in Sonic Rush when the two worlds begin to collide, she's shown up on and off ever since. Perhaps the biggest example of her appearance that most casual observers will be aware of though is in Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, which is most ironic because that game has a completely different setup and scenario for the character as Blaze, as well as the fact that it just unwrites itself from the timeline by the end anyway, so a lot of things people attribute to Blaze technically didn't even happen. But the history of the character isn't really the point of today's video. What I want to go into is her absence for the most part, and the big missed opportunity excluding Blaze from activities brings to the series. Blaze has so much to offer as a character, both from a narrative point of view, but also from a gameplay point of view. Starting with the latter first, Blaze was conceived as a parallel to Sonic. Yes, they're both fast, but that's not the only thing they have in common. They're both the primary hero of their respective homes. They both are able to transform using the 7 gems of their home world. They both use their natural abilities to better aid them in the combating of the mechanical enemies. Sonic uses his speed to roll around really fast and buzzsaw through things, while obviously Blaze uses her fire to burn them down. But they've got parallels even on a visual level. Sonic, when he spins and jumps, does so by rolling into a ball and rolling forward, whereas Blaze instead will pirouette and spin to the side as she coats herself in a flaming tornado. They complement one another in a really natural way. Mechanically, she doesn't hold back the design of a Sonic game either. She can be as different to or as similar to Sonic as the current game requires. She has the ability to boost since it was created in her title game, and she can obviously just jump into enemies normally, or throw fire, or attack with powerful melee strikes, the likes. She can basically do whatever Sonic can, but because of those differences, if you wanted, you could also make her play slightly differently, without sacrificing the speed that the Sonic series is known for. Then on the narrative side of the equation, Blaze still has a lot of opportunities to flourish amongst the cast. Her personality is more reserved and proper compared to the loose and chill Sonic the Hedgehog, but thanks to her exposure to him, she's softened up from how she used to be a very distant and cold individual, and as a result, she will interact with each member of the cast differently to Sonic, without antagonizing them. With Tails, it's like as if Tails was hanging around a more responsible version of Sonic. With Knuckles, they can both understand one another's struggles as guardians over sacred artifacts. With Amy, she kind of gets along with anybody anyway, and with Sonic, it's someone who can actually keep up with him, but also doesn't have anything to prove against him. And of course, there are many more characters to explore with. And fitting her into a story shouldn't be too much of a challenge. You can either lean into the fact she's from another world, just like the 2 Rush games did, or you can do something to establish her presence in Sonic's world before the major plot events of the next game take place. So what I mean to say is, if you have a good reason to use Blaze, you can figure out a way to get her into the game. The separation of worlds is only really a problem if you don't care enough to find a way to solve it. And the solution isn't to just delete the Soul Dimension and water down her character. You can definitely be a bit more creative than that. So with all these upsides for Blaze, why is it that she doesn't really show up too often? There's probably quite a few reasons. For a start, obviously we've just come out of a period where the Sonic series was rejecting all of its side characters and refusing to use as many of them as possible. And so with Blaze not even being a super well-known character, she was obviously going to fade away into obscurity during such a time. However, those days thankfully seem to be coming to an end, and as a result, Sega are bringing in more of the cast once again. However, since Blaze isn't the most known character, she's probably not on the immediate list of people to bring back to the forefront, but I think she should be for the reasons we've already gone over in this video. Why else, perhaps, would she not be coming back so soon into the games? As much as this might upset some people, I truly think that her association with Silva, in terms of how the public view the character, holds her back, because Silva is someone who is locked to the future most of the time, and she's already someone locked to a different dimension. So when you make these characters' appearances relying upon both of them being present, the fact that they both come from different alternate realities severely diminishes the chances of them meeting up in the first place and getting to take part, because of the fact that yes, you do need to put some legwork in to explaining their appearance. Or I guess you don't, like Sonic Forces showed us, but that game's narrative was a complete disaster in every sense of the word. Still, not all hope is lost. The IDW Comics makes a far better use of the extended roster than the games have been doing for the last couple years, and until we get another playable game with these characters, it's the best source of interactions you're going to get. And just recently, a new issue has come out featuring a story where Sonic tours Blaze around the locations of Sonic Unleashed, and it's really well written and really well drawn, but most importantly, the characterization of Blaze seems to be on point. Despite the fact that she's been absent for quite a while, in this short section of the comic, we see basically all the highlights of her character, and they still feel really good to this day. She is that more reserved version of Sonic, but she still enjoys the action he takes her on. She's equally as competent as he is, and she's receptive to his snarky, bubbly personality, without compromising her own. It respects her fear of height and her burden of duty that weighs upon her mind at most times of the day. And it highlights the fact that she does trust Sonic deeply, because let's not forget, while Scream played a huge role in Blaze's characterization during the events of Sonic Rush, so did Sonic. Without Sonic, it's quite possible Blaze wouldn't have become more open as a person. And it even makes the smallest of nods to something I never would have imagined ever showing up again due to the association with Silva these days, where she gets a little bit flustered holding Sonic's hand, whilst he doesn't really notice anything of it. Because at the end of Sonic Rush, to probably 99% of you that haven't got to the end of Sonic Rush, they do kind of share a moment where Blaze seems to be indicating she has deeper feelings for Sonic, not that he would be aware of that. But the point of me bringing that up is it seems that the people working on this issue just knew everything about Blaze there and back, and it was all in there. And it was very enjoyable to read, and it just makes me think, yeah, why do we not see Blaze more often, especially in the games, where she's perfectly suitable to basically any of the things we've been seeing over the last 10 years. But that's just my opinion. What do you think? There's tons of characters, so many of them would be cool to see in the limelight again, whether it's just as a story or playable as well. So let me know who you would prefer to see in the comments down below, and thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. It really does help me out. And if you'd like to support me, please leave a like, comment and subscribe, and share the video around to those who may be interested. With that all said and done, I hope you have a great day, and to see you next time. This is the Mighty Emperor, signing off.